Alright guys, we got another video for you. This is by a TikTok user named Claudia, and she is going to go into why she's estranged from her mom and how being estranged from her parents was a last resort option or for her parent. And this is what, society doesn't understand is most of us who are estranged from our parents didn't really want to go, we didn't really want to go no contact from our parents. It was a last resort option. Nobody wants to go no contact with their parents. People who have good parents don't really want to go no contact. So let's get into this video, see what she has to say.
Us as estranged adult children aren't heartbroken about having to essentially orphan ourselves, having to forfeit a relationship with a parent, with someone who raised us, with so.
I mean, yeah, I know I'm heartbroken. I didn't want to go no contact with my parents. Even though there was a lot of bad, there was a lot of bad moments with my parents. A lot more bad moments than good, but they were still good moments. And, I guess one of the reasons why I didn't go no contact for so long is the good moments, with these parents, there are good moments sometimes. You go to parks, or you go to, maybe you take vacations, or maybe they buy you something every now and then. There are good moments with these parents, but the good moments, just because, you're living with abusive people who do nice things for you sometimes, doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean they still aren't abusive people. So it's very difficult. It's very difficult sometimes,
Someone who was personally my best friend for pretty much my entire life until I had to go no contact. I didn't just wake up one day and decide that I was going to go no contact with my mom. Like, it was such a build-up of so many things over so many years. It was devastating. It was absolutely heartbreaking to have to come to the decision that I could not do it anymore, and I couldn't have my mom in my life anymore. Like, at this stage in her life, if she is going to continue acting this way and just how she is right now, I cannot have that in my life. I can't.
Yeah. And, she may be a narcissistic parent. She may not be a narcissistic parent, but a lot of these parents are just plain toxic. Something happens. Maybe they have a drinking problem. Maybe they're not completely narcissistic parents with full-blown NPD, but they have a drinking problem. They have a drug problem, or maybe they just turn bitter and nasty. Something happens in their life, or many things happen in their life, and they turn bitter and nasty, then they take it out on their children. And, it's hard, especially if you've had a good relationship with your parents. Otherwise, these kids don't want to go no contact with their parents. How does it serve them? It doesn't serve them to go no contact with their parents. I can only wish I had parents who taught me how to do things, who were there for me, who inspired me. I grew up in a family of losers, just not even outside of my parents. Family of complete losers. Cousin, a loser. Dropped out of high school. Married a nurse. Now he doesn't work. He hasn't worked in over 10 years. Last I heard, he's just making pot at home, making pot brownies and smoking weed. Yeah, he watches the kids. He's a stay-at-home dad, but the guy, my family's a loser. They're uninspired losers. They haven't done anything with their lives. And, that's another thing. Besides whether or not, I'm not even just talking about narcissistic parents. Sometimes you have to cut out the extended family, too, because they're not doing anything with their lives. They're not motivating you. They're not lifting you up. They're not cheering you on. They don't want your best interests. They don't even want the best interests for themselves. They're just, they're negative, like my parents were. My parents turned me very negative for a long time, and I still am, but I'm getting better, but sometimes you just need to cut them off because they're not taking you to places where you want to be. You want to improve your life. They're not doing anything to improve their life. And besides just cutting off toxic parents, sometimes you have to cut off, some of your extended family. Just because, they're not good influence on you either. So, let's get into more of the video.
Especially as the eldest child, as the eldest daughter of an addict, I feel so much blame. I feel so much responsibility for not parenting my parents and being.
And that's the other thing, is that's how I think a lot of us feel. Like, we could have done more. Your parent, I understand your parent was an addict. My dad was an alcoholic until my brother was born. My cousins are alcoholics. My uncle is an alcoholic. I grew up in a family of alcoholics. My dad's dad was an alcoholic, and I understand the feeling of wanting to, thinking you can do more to save them, thinking that, if only you could just pull them out of the darkness, if only you could just pull them out of the hell, the addiction they're in. But there's nothing you can do. They clearly have issues. Your mom clearly has issues. No offense to you, of course. I'm sure you're a wonderful person, but like, your mom is most likely she's numbing her pain with alcohol. Just like my dad numbed the pain with alcohol. Just like his dad numbed the pain with alcohol. Just like my uncle numbs the pain with alcohol. The only people who can stop their addiction is themselves. You're the only person who can stop your addiction. Guys, I could have gotten to that point where I was an alcoholic. I was drinking a lot in my 20s too. I'm not even going to lie. I was drinking a lot in my 20s. Not as much as all my friends, but I'd still drink a lot. The real addiction, though, I had was the vaping. The vaping I did for like 13 or 14 years, and I got really addicted to that, guys. I'm not even going to lie. I spent a lot of money on the vapes. But my point is, you are the only one who can break that cycle, that can break that addiction. Nobody else can break the addiction for you. You don't owe your parent that. You can't do anything for your parent. I'm sure you've tried to get them into AA, or you've tried to bring them to the meetings, or you've tried to, educate them on the long-term effects of alcohol. I'm sure you've done everything you could. But you can't keep putting the blame on yourself. There's nothing you could do for your mom who doesn't want to stop drinking. She has to do this on her own terms. I mean, guys, I had an ex that was an alcoholic as well, okay? I made mistakes too. I'm not going to say I wasn't at fault for the situation. I'm not going to say I haven't made mistakes in my life. I got with an ex as well who was an alcoholic. Tried to get her to stop drinking. Wouldn't stop drinking. It got to the point where I had to pack my bags and leave. She's still drinking to this day. Even after her uncle died, she's still drinking. So, alcohol is a powerful addiction, guys. Addiction's powerful in general. The only person who can stop that is you. The only person who can stop is you. So, let's go on.
Being 15 and feeling like I should be doing more to help my mom who's struggling with addiction, which is an illness, and feeling just so helpless, feeling that I can't do anything, but also feeling that it's my responsibility as her firstborn, as the eldest daughter, as the eldest child with 2 younger siblings. Estranged adult children do not make this decision lightly. It is not just one.
No, absolutely. It's not one and done. It's considered over many years of abuse, neglect, trying to right wrongs, trying to have a better relationship, until you finally realize, until you exhaust all your options. You exhaust all your energy. You have no more physical energy to give. You have no more mental energy to give. Is when you finally throw in the towel and you finally realize, look, you sit down, you tell yourself, I've done everything I could. There's nothing more I can do here. I've exhausted all my options. It is now the ball's in the other person's court to make things right, whether they want to have a relationship or not. And they continue doing it. They continue the bad behavior. And you know what? You just say, I give up. I can't do it. Threw the ball in the other person's court. Threw the ball in their court. They threw it back to me. That's my sign to leave. And you leave. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do. You try, but there's sometimes you gotta take the ball and you gotta leave. They threw the ball back to you, you gotta take it and leave.
incident happens and all of a sudden you go no contact. Like I said, my mom was my best friend. And obviously looking back on it now as an adult, I can see that we were more like codependent frenemies than best friends. And I have...
Yeah. You had Stockholm Syndrome. Your mom needed you and you needed your mom. You formed a relationship. You formed a trauma bond. You formed a relationship through trauma. You both essentially had Stockholm Syndrome.
Done a lot of reflecting. That's why I'm so content with my relationship with my mom as it stands right now, which is nothing. We don't have a relationship. And honestly, I think she's comfortable with it too. She never once begged me to be back into her life. She never once even asked me to be back into her life. She very likely believes she did nothing wrong and I'm just being a brat, essentially. But no.
And there's nothing you can do about that. These parents, narcissistic parents, always think they're going to do nothing wrong. They always think they do nothing wrong.
No, I'm absolutely heartbroken that I had to lose that relationship. It sucks. It sucks. Thankfully, I got so lucky with my dad, with my grandparents, that I don't really feel that loss very much. Like, I have a very good support system that I love. But that doesn't mean that I'm not heartbroken. That doesn't mean that I don't...
And I'm really glad about that. I'm really glad she at least has her dad and some people on her extended family side, you know. That's really good to hear because not everybody has that. You know. Some people have to go no contact with the whole family. Fortunately, like I did, you know, there are other people who've had to, but I'm really glad that she can at least have a relationship with her dad, some of the people in the extended family. That's really good. She at least has some support from them. So,
don't miss the relationship that we could have had. And you know what? I don't think she is heartbroken. Like, yes, it has occurred to me that maybe she is heartbroken. However, I don't believe she is. I don't think she cares that much. If anything, I think that I probably care more than she does.
And I really don't. I don't think she does, especially if she hasn't reached out, and if she won't admit fault to anything. It sounds like she's like my mom. It sounds like she's a narcissist. One of the main things of the narcissist is that they refuse to admit fault. They refuse to admit they've done wrongdoing. And if your mom's admitting that she hasn't done anything wrong, she doesn't think she's done anything wrong, chances are it's going to be like that. Chances are it's going to get worse, in fact. It usually does get worse in my experience. But anyway, let's continue. We're almost done.
Do you think that us as estranged adult children aren't heartbroken about...
Okay, it's just repeating. That's the end of the video, guys. I hope to... this woman, Claudia, I hope that you don't blame yourself anymore for what happened. I hope that you know that you've done everything you could to have a relationship with your mom, but unfortunately she doesn't want to have a relationship with you. She wants to have a relationship with the bottle, with the alcohol. She's putting the alcohol, she's putting the drink above your relationship and above your needs. I'm sorry to say, but she doesn't care about you. She doesn't care about you. If she did, she'd put down the alcohol. She'd stop drinking. She would admit fault, but she doesn't think she's done anything wrong, like you said. So don't beat yourself up about this. It's clear that you're a good person. It's clear you've done everything. You've tried to do everything you can to mend the relationship with your mother, but it's just not going to work out. So that's the end of the video, guys. Let me know what you think. Like this video if you like it. Put a comment down below. And if you like videos like this, you want to see more videos like this, please let me know. And until next time, guys, see you in the next one. Take care.